that is my spiel before I dive further in. But now I want to introduce Amber here. So if you've joined our podcast before, you maybe have heard Amber talk before, and we're like, we need to have her back for social media stuff and just really talk to us all about social media, how you can use social media to drive sales. And then we're also, talking about like how you use paid social media to drive sales too, because a lot of times that doesn't really get touched on. So we want to talk about all that. So who better than Amber Zackham, who is creative director of House Social and also marketing manager at Ambassador Travel. So Amber, welcome here today. And I'll let you take it away and share all of your expertise with us.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I'm so excited to be on with you guys today. And of course, thank you to Travefy for having me back. I loved being on the podcast, so I've been looking forward to today. I'm going to switch my screen over so I can pull up my presentation.
And while you're doing that, I forgot to mention too, if you have any questions, also we'll have time at the end for Q&A. So feel free to put those questions in either the chat or the Q&A box, and then I'll be watching for those, and then we can ask Amber those at the end.
Great.
Perfect.
Sounds good. Well, like Stephanie said, I'm going to talk about high-level social media strategy and tactics. And even though that sounds like, a lot of big fancy words, basically what I'm going to talk about today are video and paid social media. So we're really going to only touch on two major things, but some things that I have been seeing as really the biggest ways to transform your social media and stay on top of how social media trends are progressing. So I wanted to do a little introduction about myself so you guys can learn a little bit about me, and then I will jump right into it. So like Stephanie said, I am the owner of House Social, and I started in the travel industry back in 2014, right out of college. And I have been working in the travel industry ever since and have expanded outside the travel industry as well. So during the last couple of years, I earned my MBA in marketing, and during the pandemic decided to go out on my own. So I started House Social back in January of 2021. So we're about to celebrate our 2-year anniversary at the start of 2023, which is very exciting. But I have worked with so many travel agencies. I have been working with Mass Travel Network since 2015. And I've done a little bit of everything when it comes to social media marketing. So creating marketing plans with agents, running social media pages, being, travel agency social media manager, doing consulting with various teams, and a lot more. So if there's anything you're interested in learning about me or House Social afterwards, you can definitely shoot me an email. My email is here, info@housesocialllc.com. So that is my little spiel. Let's start talking about what we're going to go over today. So like I said, high level strategy and tactics, just fancy words for me, running you through what's going on in social media today and where are we seeing the biggest results without having to necessarily put in the biggest amount of effort. So I'm going to go through video. I'm going to talk about how you can plan for drawing sales. We're going to go through some paid social media, including pay per clicks. And then I like to always end webinars I do with some just tips and tricks, because a lot of the information that's coming at you is just that. It's a lot of information. So I like to kind of wrap everything up in a little bow so that you can kind of take what I'm giving you today as more of a bite-size piece and make it a little more manageable for you and your business. So let's get right into video, because this is going to be really the center of everyone's, it should be the center of everyone's marketing plan right now. And if it isn't yours yet, that's okay. It's something that we should all be striving towards for the minimum. So I want to start out with TikTok and Reels. Many of you might be on Instagram, which is why Reels and TikTok are kind of a combined situation here. So if you aren't on TikTok, that's okay. Reels is giving you many of the same features. You can create, if you are on TikTok, you can create videos on TikTok and upload them to your Instagram Reels. All of that is, when I'm talking about these two, they're kind of interchangeable, at least for today's topic. And the reason that is because these type of short form videos are one of the only ways to reach followers and what we want to be future clients in an organic way. So what that means is most of the time when we're posting on our Instagram feeds or on our Facebook feeds, the only people seeing it outside of, potentially some friends of friends are just our followers. And that's great. We obviously want to get in front of as many people that follow us because that's going to be, definitely a core demographic as possible. However, we also want to be reaching new audiences, and that can be done through Reels. And Reels can be uploaded on Instagram as well as Facebook. And of course, you can share any video across any platform, but they're going to work best on Instagram because that is the platform that they're made for. The thing with these type of videos is that they can be either super niche or they can be extremely broad. So that's something that we're going to get a little more into as I talk today, because there really are endless options for how to stake your claim and really carve out an area for yourself in terms of TikTok videos and Reels. Another type of video is, of course, videos that you upload to Facebook and other platforms. So outside of this TikTok and Reels sphere are just normal videos that you create and upload. Like I said, you can, of course, upload your Reels or TikToks to Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest or wherever you choose, because you can download the video and upload it like anything else. However, there is, of course, the option to create a video on your phone or on your camera and upload it to Facebook or your other platforms in that way. The difference is with TikTok and Reels, because of the way that the platforms of TikTok and Instagram are set up, you are reaching that organic audience that you're not going to be reaching by just simply uploading a Reel or TikTok that you downloaded and adding it to another platform. So that's kind of the difference there. That being said, because video is favored on all social media platforms over every other type of medium, any video you're uploading and is part of your marketing plan is better than no video at all. So you might not be ready to jump into creating TikToks or creating Reels, but you are ready to start making videos on your phone that you can upload to Facebook. That's totally fine. If you're making video, that is step one, and it's always going to be a good thing, because even if it's not a reel, Facebook is going to give it basically extra sites. It's going to put it in front of more people, even if it's just your followers, because Facebook wants you to use video. So keep that in mind as we talk today. I love to share some video ideas because I know sometimes we are very ready to start doing more content. We're comfortable with the idea of doing videos, but we just need some ideas. And so I'm going to just put some out here for you today to hopefully spark a little bit of your imagination and get the wheels kind of going in terms of, ways to start making video part of your marketing plan. So the first way is just talking directly to the camera. I have my social media pages, my Instagram, I do Reels every single week where I talk about various social media or the way that, work culture is right now for us. And I just talk directly to the camera. I'm not doing any sort of like transitions. There's no graphics, there's no special effects, nothing like that. I'm just talking directly to the camera. It's the way I feel most comfortable making video, at least, for my own type of content. And so that's the way you can start it out. If you're someone like me and you're just comfortable looking at your camera, talking and expressing your ideas that way, that is one option for creating any type of video, including TikTok and Reels. If you don't like to be on camera at all, you don't have to be, and you can still make really, really great informative videos. There are tons of ways to do it with graphics, with images, with videos you take. I always say, because we're in the travel industry, social media is really, it's meant for us. And so, you can do location reviews, resort walkthroughs, just taking a photo anywhere you travel, a video anywhere you travel can be used eventually in the making of videos, including TikTok and Reels. I know people that do various graphics with frequently asked questions because they don't love to be in front of the camera. However, some people don't mind talking. So they'll do voiceovers. So they put up images and they, talk through it because they don't love to be on camera, but they don't mind being able to talk on camera. So these are all, ideas of ways to be in front of the camera and be comfortable, because that's one thing with social media is that most of the time it seems scarier or harder than it really is. So finding what works for you and your business and your comfort level is going to lead you to actually doing it. And once you're doing it, a lot of times we pick up new tips and tricks that make us feel even more comfortable and change kind of our marketing strategy as we go. And I always just like to note that you guys are the expert in your field. So figuring out how to harness your knowledge and give that to people in a way that's going to get them coming back for more is all you have to figure out. You already have the knowledge, you already have the expertise. And so it's just figuring out the medium that you're going to deliver that in. Next, I want to talk about just some plans for drawing sales in terms of video. So number one thing is just getting in front of the right viewers. And this has really never been easier on social media than it is right now with that organic reach from Reels or TikToks, because your videos are being put in front of people that are already interested in your content. And we have never, ever seen that before on social media. And let me tell you, it is not going to last forever. We are never going to be in this position again where it's as easy to have something go viral. Sometimes I'll put up a video where I'm just talking to the camera about something I'm feeling in terms of work, and I'll get 8,000 views. And that's just something that never has happened. And it doesn't take anything other than being able to be relatable. And all of you have the skills to be able to do that for sure. But to do this, to draw those type of sales, to get in front of 8,000, 12,000 or more people organically without paying anything, you have to be on Reels and TikTok. So you might not be ready to take that step yet, but it is something that should be on your radar and something that you're working towards every month in terms of, your marketing plan. So almost no other medium gives us the opportunity to be in front of the amount of people we get to be in front of, unless we're doing paid ads. And I'm going to talk about that in the slides to come. The next thing is to provide something unique. So what makes your business special? All of you already know that. You already have established that. That's how you created the company that you've created, or the sales, the clientele that you have been able to keep coming back for more. So sit down and think about what it is that you offer, the reason that your clients keep coming back to you, and then get it into video form, because this is going to be the way to convert a simple video into actual bookings. And like I said, this type of organic reach is not going to last. We haven't seen it before in social media. We aren't going to see it again. So get into making one of the two types. If you're already on Instagram, I say start with Reels. I do TikTok, but I am much more comfortable on Instagram. So I try to stick with, what my strengths are in terms of my own business. So those are things to consider when you are thinking about taking the next step, and why it's so important to be making videos on Reels or TikTok, or both. One thing I do like to talk about is there are people among us that are numbers people. So I love to throw in some stats about why Reels, and when I say Reels, I mean Reels and TikToks, are so important right now in terms of drawing sales. So all of these stats are from influencermarketinghub.com. You can definitely do your own research on this because there are tons and tons of stats. However, the Instagram Reels feature generates 67% more engagement than standard Instagram videos. So if you are uploading just a regular video on Instagram versus a reel, your reel is seeing almost 70% more engagement. That number alone tells me, okay, I'm already making videos. I'm comfortable with this. Let me just learn this new format. Let me play around with this tool, because if I'm going to see 70% more engagement, that number is a big number in terms of social media, especially when it's free. So I'm going to go for that. Next, 9 out of every 10 Instagram users watch video each week. That means almost every single person on Instagram is watching video. And so that means if you're not making video, you're definitely losing out on that opportunity, because people slow down and they watch things that they're interested in. And lucky for us, the travel industry, people love it. It's not, we're not working at an uphill battle here when it comes to our industry and trying to present things that attract people to what we're selling, because travel does it itself. It's beautiful locations, it's food, it's fun nightlife. And so that type of stuff is really just made for social media. And then Instagram Reels beat out all other short form video apps when it comes to engagement, having a global average of 53 minutes of viewing time per session. So this means that if you're looking to get started, Reels is probably the way to go, especially for our demographic. TikTok users tend to be younger, although that's changing. Reels, however, is going to be that 30, I mean, of course, younger, but the middle demographic on Reels is at 30 to 50-year-old users. So right in that main demographic of people that are traveling. And so if you're a numbers person, I hope this maybe tip the scales for you a little bit. Okay, so now that we've talked about video, let's talk about paid social media, because it's really the only other way to get in front of people that aren't already following you. So ads are still the number one way to reach people, because it's guaranteed. When you make a video, you might not get that 8,000 views, not the first time, not even the 100th time. It just depends on what sort of videos you're putting out there, what sort of content you're creating. And sometimes you might get 8,000 views and the next video might get 200. And that's something that, you learn with time, the skills and what goes into it that really sets the higher number of videos apart. But ads are so much different, because you really get to control how many people it's getting in front of. You're guaranteed a certain number of people by the platform that you're paying to do the ad. And so that's why ads can be really, really great. All social media platforms at this time offer ads: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, all of them. So there are ways to do some sort of advertising on all platforms. One thing I will say is that ads are always best when done consistently. So I always tell people, lower your budget per ad and expand them throughout the year. If you can run an ad continuously, and I'm not talking the same ad, you can do a different ad weekly or monthly, whatever that is. But if you can run ads at all times for a lower budget than just say like once in a while, a couple $100 ad, you're going to see better results, because again, these platforms favor your posts when you use their features. So the more often you use features that Facebook is providing, the better results you're going to see. And that's the same for ads. This means an ad that's always running. You can always, of course, overlap with more than one ad if you want to, but it doesn't have to be that big ad spend, like I said. The type of ad that you put up depends on what your goals are. And I'm going to talk about that on my next slide. But just something to think about. So if you have $100 a month ad spend, spread that out to $25 a week, and don't just do 1 week of $100, because that consistency is just something I'm constantly preaching about social media. Like I said, the type of ad you do depends on whatever your goal is. So everyone's goal when it comes to advertising and marketing in general is completely different. So most platforms allow you to set demographic, add keywords, location with mileage. They decide how people can contact you, whether that's, calling, going to your website, messaging you, whatever that is. And then of course, decide what you are highlighting in the ad. So images, your caption, all of that good stuff. And, you might, right now I'm working with someone who's running a 20% off. It's a cosmetics company, and they're doing 20% off their permanent eyebrows. So what they want are people to message them to get the code, and then they give them the booking link. And so their goal is to get more messages on Facebook. So that's maybe different than what your goal would be, which if you're promoting, say, your latest group trip, your goal might be to send people to the group page, or it might be to have them call. Now, I think call is a little bit of a riskier choice because a lot of people are phone averse these days. And so we love to be able to have the option to send an email. That's why sending people to a website with your contact information is always a little safer, I think, on from my perspective, when it comes to getting people to actually reach out and potentially book with you. Another thing that Stephanie asked me to talk about today is PPCs, or pay per clicks. So this is something that you might come across if you start running ads, or might be something you are very well versed in because you've been doing ads for a while. But it is a type of internet marketing which involves advertisers paying a fee each time one of their ads is clicked. Simply, you only pay for advertising if your ad is actually clicked on. So this can be done on social platforms, not all of them. Facebook for sure in the Facebook Business Suite. So obviously you can do it with Instagram as well. And in here, you'll be able to see the cost per click on ads that you have run. And this is a great way to advertise, as you're only paying for those people that are actually interested in your product. It also will show you, even if you aren't running a pay-per-click advertisement on Facebook, it will break down the cost per click on all of your ads. So if you go into the Facebook Business Suite, you'll be able to see that. And it's always so gratifying when you go in there and you see that your pay-per-clicks are like pennies, because that means that you are really getting your ad in front of people. People are clicking on it. And obviously the lower amount you pay per clicks, the more people, you're getting in front of. So this is something that is really good to know. And it's a really great way to be advertising on the internet and on social media. And I wanted to, again, give you guys some statistics about social ad sets, because I know, like I said, numbers, people love to see the data. So half of all adult internet users say that when brands use their data in advertising, it helps them discover and find products and services that interest them. So the great thing about social media ads is that we can't obviously harness users' data to advertise in front of them, but we are able to choose keywords and demographics and various different components that people on Facebook and Instagram have already noted that they liked, that Facebook and Instagram already know that they're interested in. And so that's the way we're able to do it on social media. Ads on social media had worldwide revenue of 153 billion in 2021 and is expected to grow to 252 billion in 2026. And I know this number is like wildly large and not something that's really in our realm. However, what this number tells me is that people are spending money on ads, and those people are getting in front of consumers. And so if we aren't spending money on ads, that means other people are getting in front of our consumers. And so that tells me that even a small ad spend, you're going to contribute to this overall 252 billion, because you are now a part of marketers who are putting their money towards getting in front of people on social media. And let me tell you, even though I'm a marketer, marketing really works on me. And I tend to buy things that I see on social media often. And so I love when I when I have targeted ads, because I find that they are so unique to me and what I'm interested in. And I think there are quite a few people who actually agree with me. Of course, there are people that are completely opposite and don't like it at all, and that's okay. But what we're focusing on are the people that really love to see the things that they're already interested presented to them on social media. Instagram's advertising reach has outpaced Facebook this past year. So that's always good to know. I wouldn't say that if you do the majority of your work on Facebook that you should completely abandon it. However, when you set up Facebook ads, if you also have an Instagram, you can run it simultaneously. And so for me, because we're seeing such big growth on Instagram, it's something to not be ignored. Between the ad spend and Reels, it's something that we definitely should be focusing on as the next major social media hub that Facebook has been. And then ads reach over 70%. 72% of Facebook's MAU. So that is monthly average users. So that is something super important to note, is that you're seeing 72% of the monthly average users on Facebook getting ads to them. And so what that's telling me, just like the stat on the Reels and TikTok page, is that 70% of Facebook users, just like we're seeing a 70% higher engagement from Reels and TikToks, that these numbers are big. They're the majority of people seeing your ads, seeing your Reels and TikToks. So for me, numbers like that are really telling, and they help me decide what my next move is as a marketer and what I do when I talk to all of my clients about marketing. So the last thing I want to go through is my tips and tricks. This is always my favorite slide when I do a presentation, because I just truly love to be able to take everything we just talked about and slim it down into kind of a Spark Notes version. So the first thing, and something I say constantly, so if you've ever been on a webinar with me before, you will have heard this before, but I want you to just take one thing I said today and apply it. And once you're doing that consistently, then add on another thing. And this is true, in my opinion, from anything we learn, especially about business or marketing, is that if you can just take one thing, do it really well, do it consistently, then take on the next thing, you're going to look back in a year and say, wow, look at all the new things I implemented and I did them really well. I wasn't trying to do too many things at once. I was able to really build on my marketing. The next is just to keep educating yourself. So what you guys are doing today is awesome. And I just want to continue to promote educating yourself on social media marketing because of how quickly it moves. When I started in this industry 8 years ago, I was talking to travel advisors about just starting Facebook pages, just, getting on there and starting to get in front of people. And now we're talking about Reels and TikToks, which in that short amount of time, I feel like things have just grown immensely. The next thing is to collaborate. So this is something that we didn't really spend any time talking about today, but I love to really push people, especially if you own a small business, to collaborate with other people in your area to do things online, because it's such a great way to cross your followers. And it's just another way to kind of get that organic reach outside of even video. So it's a little bit of a sneaky third way to get in front of people. The fourth is outsourcing. So I am a big proponent of, you are all already working a full-time plus job, and social media in itself is a full-time plus job. So trying to do both is really only going to take away from both of the things you're trying to do. Outsourcing can mean something different for everyone. It can mean having someone else in your office do it, hiring an intern. It can mean hiring a social media marketer, whatever that means for you. Even if it's not everything with your social media, I myself found that trying to do my own social media when I'm working with all my clients always got put to the back burner. And that's something I hear from my clients constantly, is that social media gets put to the back burner. As soon as I became a business owner, I learned it absolutely does. I even hired someone to do my house social media so that it's consistent. And because I want to spend my time working with my clients, I didn't give my own social media the time it needed. So outsourcing, I am such a big fan of, and I am true to my word in that I do it myself. The next is make videos work for you. However you're comfortable doing them, do that and start there. And of course, being consistent is always key. You're better off being consistent at one thing than doing something halfway, a bunch of different things. And then finally, I'm going to leave you with this bread aisle analogy that I heard a few years ago and I absolutely love. And it's essentially that when we go to the bread aisle, we aren't overwhelmed and just say, whoa, look at all of this bread. We're there. And of course, there's all of this different types of bread. There's, white wheat, rye, tortillas, pita bread, all of this stuff. And we're all there because we're trying to get something specific. We know what we're going to the bread aisle for. Even though there's maybe 1,000 choices in the bread aisle, there's something there for everyone. And that is the way you should think about video and even social media marketing in general, is that you can find your niche. You need to make something where there's someone that's coming there because they already know they need it. And so when you are positioning yourself online, think of yourself as part of the bread aisle. Of course, there's already people doing 1,000 different things on Reels and TikTok and on social media in general, but you are there to create, and there are going to be people that are there to see exactly what you're doing. So consider the bread aisle analogy the next time you are concerned that there's already too many people doing video online, because there is a place for you, and there is a set of people that are going to show up for your content. And that's my spiel for today. Again, my name is Amber Zackham, and if you want to check out my website, you can find that at housesocialllc.com. I am currently open to taking on a few more clients before the end of the year, and then we'll also be welcoming more at the beginning of 2023. So if you are interested, feel free to shoot me over an email. You can see my email here is info@housesocialllc.com. And again, I want to thank Stephanie and Travefy for having me on today.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you for being in here. I just have to say, there's so many things. I have tons of questions, so I'm going to just dive in.
Great.
So first of all, one of them is so these are just kind of some video questions. Is Sarah had asked, should we have an intro or outro to our short form videos, or just us talking? So, like, is there a formula that you kind of go with on how to create it?
So the nice thing is there really isn't a formula. And so some people do have kind of their like hook catchphrase, something that they might say at the beginning of the end of their video that makes them kind of known, and it could also help you stand out. So that's something that you just would need to decide if that's something that you want to do, and might help place you in the sphere of people being like, oh, I know that person. She always starts with this or always ends with this. So that it's a good option, but not necessary all the time.
Yeah, and one thing too is I would recommend just going on to like TikTok, for example, would be easier because you can search for things. But there's a lot of advisors starting to use it, and I've noticed that some of them have very similar like look and feel. So it's probably a lot easier for them to pump out content once you
Absolutely.
figure out your like how you want to set it up. But that's another question that we had too. So Aaron had asked, what tools, systems, and or software do you recommend for newer agents to use just to create but also manage video marketing?
That's a great question. So I am only speaking for, kind of what I use. I started out using a app. You can download it on your phone called Video Shop. And it's a super user-friendly way to add video and photos together to create a longer form video, of course. And there's a ton of user-friendly tools in there where you can speed up video, you can slow down video, you can take audio out, you can throw photos in between video clips. And so I would start there if you're looking for something really user-friendly. But then also just using TikTok and Reels is they offer a ton of great templates and transitions. And so using those tools is really going to help you overall, because that's obviously the platform's software. And so it's like I said, anytime you're using something that the platform is providing, it's going to be better.
That's a good point. Yeah. So just like could use that, which is awesome. And then yeah, Joe just asked, what was that called again? The first one that you mentioned?
It's called Video Shop.
Video shop. Oh, nice.
Yes. Yep. And you can download it. It's a little orange icon with like a white old school looking camera in the middle. So if you're looking on your
Cool.
app store, that's what it looks like.
Nice. I love it. And what about for hashtags? So like do you have any tips on using hashtags for TikTok and Instagram?
Definitely. So I love to go to Google AdWords, and you can just simply log into your Google business page and search Google AdWords, and then it will bring you to a link where you can type in just say travel. That's pretty broad, but if you type in travel, it's going to give you the top Google words that are trending. And so using those as hashtags is always going to be super beneficial.
Awesome. That's cool. That's nice. What about, okay, so there is so Wally had asked what's the best way to get content? And then I was also thinking, are there any examples too that you can give for like like for travel agents that you've seen on what they can do with how they can easily build content?
Totally. So, obviously, the best way to get content is through your travels. I know, obviously, this being the travel industry, you guys are constantly doing group trips or FAMs or whatever that is. And so, taking as many photos and videos as you can while traveling, even if you're not doing anything right now, but to be able to go back and do it later is always a great way to do that. I'm also a really big proponent of getting user generated content. So, I have it's not in the travel industry, but I work with a candy store and out of Michigan, and they have what they're known for. It's a chocolate bar. They call it the Youper bar. And what they do to get a ton of content is that we ask people to take their Youper bars with them when they travel and send us a photo. And we do 4 times a year drawing for a gift card to the store. And so we have gotten hundreds of photos of Youper bars all over the world. And so we have all of this great content that we can now use all the time on our social pages that we didn't have to do anything for. And so if you can create some sort of contest like that, or if you can kind of send your travelers with a little piece of paper that has your business on it and say take a picture with it on your trip, and you get entered into our monthly drawing. I think things like that are just another really great way to kind of pad your content that you can get.
Yeah, that's cool. That sounds so cool. I love that idea. So this one's kind of interesting. So Scott had said, when I post a reel, I find that most of my likes I get are from people that are outside of the area like that he's looking for and trying to sell. So is there any tips on like how you can get the right people to view the people you're trying to target?
Um, so yeah, that is kind of the other side of Reels is that you are going to get people that might not live in your immediate area. I think a way to be able to help focus in on your area is making sure you're putting a location on your Reels when you upload them, and also you can use hashtags that are specific to your area. I know for me, with some of the travel agencies I work with out of Wisconsin, we focus on doing, making sure we have like Wisconsin, the hashtags Wisconsin, and then the city they're in. And you can even throw in some like, Badger State, things like that, that are going to be very specific to your area and will help bring in that audience to a more local level.
Awesome. And okay, so this question, so going to paid like ads and posts and stuff. So this could be kind of tough, but what would you say? Because I know maybe a lot of people haven't done that, and it's a little scary putting money towards it when you're like, oh gosh, what would you say is a good place to start with spending?
That's a good question. So the nice thing about the Facebook business platform is that it will tell you the range of people that you will reach at every dollar spent. So I just set up an ad yesterday that's running for 21 days. We're spending $5 a day and we're reaching between 700 and 1.4 thousand people per day. So when you go into Facebook and you set your ad up, you can play around with the dollar amount and it'll show you what range of people you'll be reaching every day. So you can start at $1 and it can go up to X amount. And so basically, I think start with that. Start with a small amount. Start with like $5 a day or $10 a day, and see come the end of your ad how many people you reached and what sort of engagement that led to, or what sort of actual bookings that led to, and then expand from there. Because I think that, like I said in the presentation, the first ad might not garner a lot, and it does take time and consistency on social media to see real moves when it comes to bookings, I think.
Yeah, that's cool. And, I have to say or note here, someone said I was apprehensive about doing reels, and I just did one with pics and video using a template on Instagram, and in a week had more than 1,000 likes. What blew me away. That's so cool. See,
I love
and you're so right about video. It is the hottest thing right now.
it is, and we can
Yeah,
we can thank Generation Z for that.
true. Yeah.
And I feel like we always when I came in to working in social media, it was all like, well, millennials aren't our demographic because they're not ready to spend money on travel. And now, millennials are like 30 to 40 years old now. And so at the time it was like kind of brushed off. And I see that we're not doing that this time around, is that we're focusing on the younger demographics because they are really pushing social media in a way that hasn't been done before.
That's so true. Yeah. And like how you said on TikTok, I mean, it started out with the younger generation using it. Now that's starting to change.
Totally.
It really is changing so much. And then have a couple of questions. Well, actually, I'm going to ask Selena's first here is, and I think you might have already kind of noted on this, but how she asked, how long should we run a Facebook ad? Like when you're testing something, how long would you recommend?
I would say give it 2 weeks minimum. And if you're seeing that you're just not seeing numbers that you would like to see, you can cancel ads at any time, even if they're set for 2 weeks. You can. I would suggest giving it the 2 weeks to get its momentum. But if you just feel like it's not doing what you want to do, cancel it and start a new one and use new graphics and new words. Whatever you want to do, don't be
Mhm.
afraid to. I know I get nervous even to this day when I set up an ad because I'm like, money.
Yeah.
I'm in marketing. I'm not dealing with money that often, at least directly. So when I do it, I get nervous too. So you're not alone in that for sure.
100%, yeah. And one thing too that I know we've heard on just past sessions already, just in this week, is if you putting out a post there and having if you're going to pay for it and stuff too, and then maybe it's like a freebie attached to it or something that you're getting their information on, or
Mhm.
you're sending them somewhere to collect that. And I just feel like personally that would make me feel better about spending money on it because I know I'm going to get something back. Um,
Totally.
so
And,
that's a
that, and
great way too.
that's a great way to do it is, the ads are a really wonderful way to build an email list. So that's a
Yeah.
great way to kind of give and get for sure.
Mm-hmm. There's a couple questions. These are a two-part question. Talking about hashtags. So Marissa asked, do hashtags still really help getting the content out?
So for me, this is like one of those questions that's like a double-sided sword for me because in a way, I don't think they do what they used to do.
Yeah.
However, I tend to follow hashtags that I'm interested in. And so I think a lot of people do that. And that's a way to get things like photos and non real videos in front of other audiences that are also interested in the same things that you're interested in. And so I wouldn't put a ton of pressure on hashtags, but I still think that they have their place. I don't think that place is on Facebook. I think it is solely on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.
I would agree with that. One thing I would mention is for travel, I do think hashtags still could be like out of all the different industries, hashtags still could be a little helpful, like putting the destination or,
Totally. And like, I mean, for me, like when I look up something, especially if I'm booking something and I want to see like the resort or a restaurant,
yes.
or even just a city, I will look up the hashtag and see what real people are posting. And so that's where you're going to see the benefit of a hashtag.
hmm I do that as well. I was doing that. And that's like the only one that I do with is like when it comes to travel, like, because you want to see the place.
Totally. Travel and food for me are like kind of
hmm
hand in hand, but at the same time, they're such close proximity to industries. So it makes sense.
It's true, yeah. And one other question on hashtags, because I'm actually curious too, because Sarah asks, should hashtags go in the caption? So when you're talking about Instagram, going in the caption or the comments, or does it not matter?
I haven't found that it makes like a extreme impact. I think that some people put them in the comments because it kind of tricks Instagram into believing that you have a first comment. But I think it's more of a stylistic thing. It's like what you prefer. I don't think it'll actually do a whole lot like help or hurt you, in terms of location.
hmm And then one more thing on hashtags. It's a hot little topic. Is what was the website that you mentioned about hashtags on how to find?
Yeah, it's just Google AdWords. So if you can
Oh, yeah.
actually just Google AdWords and it will pull up the link that you need.
Perfect. Cool. Easy enough. Um, so here's another question. So this is kind of more a little social media in general, but I do see this one a lot is do you recommend sharing posts on your Facebook business page or a personal? Would you say what is there a preference that you have on one of those?
Yes. So I am very strict about business should be on business pages. And if you share your business post onto your personal page, that's totally fine. But I feel like aside from, I know a lot of travel agents are big into sharing on their personal pages because they have built a really big network of people that are their friends and family that follow them, which is great. But where the downfall comes is if you're not posting it to your business pages, you're not allowing people outside of who already know you to find you. And so another thing I will say is that I also am very specific on making sure that your logo is in your profile picture and that your names match as closely as possible on like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, so that people have an easier time both finding you and then also knowing that that's the legitimate business that they're looking for.
That's so true. That is very true. And would you recommend also that they try to scatter things everywhere or focus on like Facebook or Instagram? Like, what is your preferred, or is it just kind of up to the person?
So this is kind of a multi-step answer. The first is wherever you can be consistent is where you should be on social media. So if you can only handle one social media page, then just be on one social media page, because you're only going to do yourself a disservice if you have a bunch of pages that you're not posting to. That being said, if you have a bunch of pages and you are posting to them, we used to say absolutely not, do not post across the board, do not share the same posts on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Now we say we want to get the same posts out, but just at scattered days and times. So you might post about your group trip to Paris on Facebook on a Monday, and then on a Wednesday, you might post it to Instagram, and then on a Friday, you might post it to Twitter, because now we're getting out in front of a lot more people. And then the final point I will make is just that make sure when you are sharing across the board, you are tweaking your post slightly to make sure that the wording makes sense for the platform you're on, that you're not using hashtags on Facebook, that if you have a link, on Facebook or Twitter, that's fine. But on Instagram, you might need to say link in bio or link in stories so that people know how to find the information that's relevant on the platform.
Perfect. That's awesome. And there's a couple of people who said this. Typed Google AdWords in Google, and or it says a pay service. So we might have to look at that, but we can look. Is there like a different one? I'm not sure. I
You
can
just
try
have
go
to be
look.
logged into your business page, and then there is a paid service, but there is a free version, because I use the free version quite frequently.
Mhm.
I'd have to look at it to be able to like pull up the actual steps.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah, and if not, you can email us, anyone on here too, and we can get in touch with Amber to check that out. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, because there's I mean, I know there's so much stuff when it comes to all the social media. There's a lot of different things you can do. But Anna asked a TikTok question here. This is kind of a big question, but any suggestions on what to do to grow following on TikTok, especially if we're only starting with the account for travel now? So a lot of brand new ones.
Definitely. So a major thing is just making sure that you're telling your other platforms that you're on TikTok. So make sure that you're putting it out on Facebook, that you're putting it out on Instagram, that you're on TikTok, and to follow you there. It's also great to share some of those TikTok videos on your other platforms to kind of draw people in. Maybe not posting all of them, because then there's no incentive for them to actually come to your TikTok to follow you. And then also there's always like great ways to do it by giving like an incentive. Say, we're going to be sharing big sale that we're having, but it's only going to be on TikTok. So you have to come to our TikTok to find out about the sale, and that's going to help drive traffic there.
What about, okay, this is just something that I just randomly thought of, is that the TikTok live. So you can go live on TikTok. Does that help at all bring people into your channel? Like, do you recommend doing that, or is it still a little new?
It definitely could. It's something that if you're familiar at all with Facebook Live or Instagram Live, it's very similar, except for obviously on TikTok, you're able to reach people that don't just follow you. So if you, have I would definitely plan it out. I would definitely have a purpose for doing it, but that definitely could be a way to bring in more people to your page.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking about that. I'm like, oh, you could easily, especially as a travel advisor, like you could easily start talking about a destination or something, or just focus in. And there's
Absolutely.
so many things you can do. It's so cool. But I do have one final question for you here is, okay, so what would you say? Because I know a lot of times video can be kind of scary. You're like, oh gosh, what do I do? And
Mhm.
like, how do I do it? So what would you say to someone who's just a little bit nervous about branching into video and just like where they should start?
I would say practice. The more time you'll spend, if you're, comfortable with it in front of the camera, the easier it gets. And so just taking some time, making video on your phone and talking to the camera and then watching it back and seeing the things that you might do that you either think look great or don't look good at all, and then just deleting it and working on those things. It's all about just finding that comfort level. So if being on the camera is just not your thing, then there are totally, a million ways for you to create reels and TikToks where you are never on camera. And like I said in the presentation, once you find that comfort level, you're going to be more consistent. And so that's the key to it.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And even with like TikTok, you can even have like the little Siri voice talk for you.
Exactly,
So yeah,
exactly.
you don't even have to talk. It's so great. And they still get so popular. But this has been awesome. I'm really excited to see advisor, growing into the videos, because we've really been seeing it a lot, especially in TikTok over the past like 6 to 9 months. I would say like I've personally been seeing a huge amount, like a big growth and like people dabbling in it. And it's really cool and very unique. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And I did pull up Google AdWords just for anyone
oh,
that's
cool.
looking at it. If you go to Google, you type in Google AdWords and you click, you'll see where it says Google Ads. There's an option below that that says Keyword Planner. If you click on Keyword Planner, you can go into that and click on Go to Keyword Planner. And in there is where you can freely type in whatever word you want, and it will generate your ad keywords.
That is awesome. That's sweet. Look at all the free resources that are out there. Really cool. And then also I was going to mention too, because I know a couple people had asked about it, is I'll put Amber's presentation. I'll make sure it gets sent out to those who registered. But then we'll put it on. I'll probably try. Otherwise, email us at professional@travefy.com if you're unable to get it. But I'll try to put on travefy.salesworkshop.live as well, so that it lives there too. But this has been great. I like social media and just focusing in on like video, and it's just really cool. And it's such an amazing opportunity for people. And it is free. I mean, we talked about paid stuff, but there's also the free side of, video and everything. So it's just, there's something for everybody. And I think it's fun to dabble in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I could talk about video all day long. We've barely scratched the surface.
I know. We could have a part 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, we'll have to plan out more of these, because really awesome. And it's always so fun having you on. So thank you so much again, Amber, for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. I really enjoyed being on with you guys. And if anyone has any questions for me, please don't hesitate to reach out.
And can you share your email address again?
Yes.
Because I know someone has.
Yep, no problem. It's info@housesocialllc.com, and house is spelled HAUS.
It's like the fancy way of house. I like it. So awesome. And thanks again, everybody, for joining us. And thank you, Amber. And we will have our next session. So last session of the day, which is crazy. These go so fast here. I'm going to share my screen just so I can get everyone excited. Okay, here we go. So the next session that we'll have today, so we'll have an hour off, and then we'll come back on, and it will be Selling Luxury Travel 101. So it'll be really fun. It'll be a panel discussion, and we hope to see you there. But also, this recording will be on travefy.salesworkshop.live. So thank you so much again, and thank you, Amber, and enjoy the rest of your time. All right, I will power down. See you guys.
Bye. Thank you.